So, when you're using a nice big model to go and get students to think about where to place renewable energy resources and the advantages and disadvantages of them, this is kind of one way to do it. I'm aware that at the moment all these different energy sources are on, but if you start off, have it blank and get students to go and place things on a bit at a time. So start off, talk to students about what sort of energy need your different cities will need, then work through them one at a time. I personally start off with wind power because they've all heard of wind power. It's nice and easy to talk about. They can go, they'll realise that they need to go and put wind turbines on like the higher parts where there'll be more wind. Then you can go and talk to them about putting them in the sea and such forth. Talk about the advantages, talk about the disadvantages, and then move on. Right, after wind power, you can go and talk about some of the others. So talk about wave power, get them to go and think about, you can almost go and get them to model what waves would do, and then they can talk about, right, so that movement of the waves could be turned into electrical energy. After you've done that, talk about your tidal barrage, just because you're down here anyway. So you'd go, place it on when you're talking about it, so don't have it set up before. They might not have heard about tidal barrages, but you could go and talk about, right, so all the area behind it potentially could go and get flooded. You could remove some of the trees or whatever while you were doing that, just to show that. Other things that you can talk about, hydroelectricity. So I always go and, not trying to destroy the river, go and place a few like these little mountains around here, then get students to go and think, right, so we've built a hydroelectric dam there, right, the water's all going to flow out there, so they need to think about, so it's a bit of lateral thinking, where else they're going to go and build another dam to go and seal it off. Talk about the advantages, talk about the disadvantages again. I always have a little area where I've got my nice little sign for hot springs, so that will hopefully hint to them that they can go and have some sort of geothermal thing there. Final two bits. Solar power, right. Get them to think about where they're going to go and put these solar panels. So they'll need to go and find and spot the area that's nice and open rather than going and putting it in the middle of the trees. And we've got biofuels over here. When they're talking about biofuels, they'll quite often turn around and say, well, that's putting carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. Right, you just need to focus on the fact that the only carbon dioxide that you're putting back into the atmosphere is the same as the trees are taking as they're growing. And after you've done all this, then you can go and get students to go and design their own little energy islands. So it really reinforces what they've gone and talked through, and gets them to think around the problems itself, and gets them really thinking about the actual uses of renewable energy, rather than thinking that it's just stuff that's there. Right, so that's a nice little activity. Works really well with all levels. I've done it with top sets, I've done it with SEND sets. Works pretty well with all of them. Right, give it a go. Thank you.